Okay, so as a prelude, I have joined the short story challenge by NYC Midnight. It's their 15th year running. I did it last year. I got through to the second round, but then I fell out. So what they do then is they give you a genre, a subject, and a character, and you are given a period of time in which to write the story and submit it. So the first round, as you can see here, it's saying there's 7 days, 15 hours, and 29 minutes left in order for you to do your story. And then you just have to find your name down below, and you will see what your group is and which genre, which subject, which character. And I discovered that my genre is comedy. The subject is a misunderstanding, and my character is a vlogger. And of course, my initial thoughts are, nope, can't do it. Why did I bother joining this? But that is exactly how I felt last year as well. So all I can say is that I am not a comedy writer, so this is going to be a very big challenge for me. Also, though I do have a good sense of humour, I'm usually the one laughing at other people's jokes and not the person making the jokes. So I'm quite nervous about this. In fact, in all honesty, I feel a bit bummed out because it's really the luck of the draw with that competition, what genre you get given. So last year, my first assignment was a contortionist, and I think the genre was action adventure, and I'm not sure, I can't remember what the other input was, but I felt the exact same way because I didn't know what to do with a contortionist. But then I ended up getting through to the second round and I got placed second. So, sometimes a challenge is a good thing, probably often a challenge is a good thing. However, I guess I thought I might as well use the story engine because I'm at a complete loss, and that is what this is for. I did, however, have a very small idea because I woke up at like 5 a.m. because it was like EST time that the assignments were announced, and I saw what my assignment was, and then I fell back to sleep, and I kind of had a few dreams about it, and then I also had an idea about leprechauns. The history of the leprechaun, which we all see as the little funny guy in green, the tiny funny guy in green with the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, is actually not. I mean, he has a very different origin to what he's become, and that origin is he's actually Lu, the sun god. So it must be a bit of a fall from great heights to be the god of the sun to then becoming this trickster imp character, obsessed with money and with the three wishes I grant you, three wishes and small, but if you wish the fourth wish then you lose them all. So I have an idea of perhaps a vlogger that comes into contact with the real Lu, the sun god Lu, and what kind of hijinks would entail. I might throw that completely out the window, but let's see what the story engine has in store for us. So I have put all of the extension packs in with the original pack, and they all fit perfectly in the box, so obviously that's what the box was designed for. And then the booster packs are still on their ownio. I'm really not sure what to do, because on one hand I want to just mix everything together, because I'm not I write all different genres apart from comedy, but what I've done is I haven't mixed the expansion packs. And the great thing is that, unlike with Dixit, you can see which pack this comes from, because they have very kindly put a tiny little dragon character for fantasy expansion, and a little planet for sci-fi expansion, etc. So you could easily, if you've mixed them in, if you desperately wanted to take them all apart again and have them separate, you could do that. So it would just take a bit of time, but I guess, I should probably just mix them, because at the end of the day it's going to probably be more useful for me. So I will do that now, and then I will get back to you. Okay, so we're all shuffled now as best as I can. Not a great shuffler. And we're going to begin. So with Story Engine, you've got 5 different types of cards. You've got the agent card, which is the yellow one, the anchor card, which is the blue one, the aspect card, which is green, the engine card, which is purple, and the conflict card, which is red. Okay, so I just brought up some notes that I already took before in order to make this video. Just initially I just wanted to make a general video with this Story Engine cards, but now it is focused because of the competition, which is good, because then you can see, how this helps. So in the initial pack there's 180 cards. Now there's double that because of the booster packs, and then obviously there's even more than double because of the extra ones, so the circuit and cybernetics, the dystopia, the steampunk, etc. I'm not using those right now, simply because once I shuffle those in, they're not going to fit in the box, unfortunately. But anyway, I think we've got enough to work with as it is. So what I will say about this project already, I was a Kickstarter, and I just watched as it progressed and came together, and the work that went into it by Peter Chukowski, just amazing. And he took on board input once the PDFs were released, and I was able to print out a PDF, the version on my friend's laser printer during the last lockdown, and got a chance to play around with them then. Now having them like this, it's amazing. The sense of freedom that you feel when you're working with these cards, I can't describe it. It means that all your creativity is flowing. You think that, with a card, with some, and certainly with other card type creative devices that I have used, I felt sort of a sense of being forced into a way of thinking very early on. But with these cards, that's not the case. To begin with, it's incredibly open, and then you can work using the cards to narrow it down and become more detailed and more focused on the decisions for the story that you've made. I think part of the freedom is their decision to make a choice within every card. So here, this is a horror one, a pretty creepy picture as well to help inspire you. But in this card, you've got the 4 choices circling, or not, well, going around the square. You've got a clown, a slasher, a bogeyman, or carnival worker. Sorry, just trying to hold this up to the camera for you to see. So what I would find sometimes whenever I'm using cards, I will open and I'll lift a card and it's just not something that reminisces with me, and immediately I just throw it away. You can do the same thing with this system, but the 4 choices on the card means that you end up in a situation where you're not just throwing cards away and feeling that you just aren't being inspired at all. You have this choice to keep spinning around and pick one that sort of speaks to you, and if none of them do, you can of course then discard the card. But I think that really helps this sense of freedom, and that makes sure your creativity again is expanding, and is in charge of the situation. It's not the cards that are in charge of the situation, it's you. And obviously, I don't know about you, but I really enjoy the tactile experience of touching these cards and turning them around to find, you know, a setting that suits me. The tactile experience for me helps with my creativity, which is why I'm also a writer. Like, I like to write by hand, especially at the beginning of projects, or when I get stuck in a project. I just don't know, but you know, the feel of the pen in the hand, and just the paper or the paper tablet as I've got here, really just helps me. Okay, so back to the 5 types of card and what they do. So the agent card are the agent in the story, obviously a person or a character who makes choices in the story. That's what people mean when they say, does your character have agency? You know, do they have the opportunity to make choices that drive the story? Obviously not all agents are protagonists. Your antagonist can be an agent, they make choices that drive the story, and there can be other characters that make choices that drive the story, but for simplicity's sake, we're talking about, you know, the main characters, and obviously one of those main characters will be the protagonist of the story. And then we can have the engine card, which is the purple one. These cards represent motivations and relationships that drive the story. So, for example, you get, in this case, there's not 2, there's not 4, there's 2 choices. To wants to gain fortune with or from, wants to gain fame with or from. So this gives your character's motivation, and also relationships with other characters or situations. Anchor cards are objects, locations, or events that are of importance. So this is a case of 4 again, and I've picked out horror. Obviously my shuffling, as I explained before, is not great. A disguise, a toy, an infection, a haunted house. So those are objects, locations, or events that are of importance in the story. Then we've got conflicts, which are, as you know, you can imagine, they're obstacles, they're consequences or dilemmas faced by the character. Horror again, whoops. So, but only the dead will know of their sacrifice, but they will not be able to confess their guilt to the living. So it's a creepy one because it's a horror one. And then aspects or adjectives, which is great, and they can describe any of the other cards, and you can have as many of them as you need. You can draw as many as you need, and these are 4 again. So horror, dusty, unexplored, temperamental, predatory. Okay, so that's the basic 5 cards. And then how it works out is that you kind of arrange them in a way that suits you. So let's say I'm going to go with an agent. So I've got an escapist, a fanatic, a werewolf, a contortionist. Seriously, that's the thing that I was complaining about getting last year. Okay, so that's synchronicity, as my brother likes to call it, or just what's that word when something happens? Coincidental. Okay, so let's go with that then. Let's say our agent is a contortionist. And then we pick out an engine card, which tells us, that's aspect, an engine card, which is the purple one, that tells us this is a contortionist who wants to get revenge on, which is actually what happened in my story last year. Wants to get revenge on, and then we choose an anchor card. Wants to get revenge on a cryopod, an exoskeleton, a body modification, or a star system. This one doesn't suit me. This is a science fiction one, and I'm not really getting a feeling for that. So I will pick another one. So wants to get revenge on a tundra, an amulet, a sword, or a suit of mail. What about an amulet that has its own mind, or has some sort of demon captured or ancient god captured inside an amulet, which has somehow messed up the character's life. And the conflict is, but the memory of what they did will haunt them forever, or turn it around, but they will forget their entire life piece by piece. I like that one. Okay, they will forget their entire life piece by piece. So we've got a contortionist who wants to get revenge on an amulet, but in doing so they will forget their entire life piece by piece. That's pretty awesome. So what I do then with that is I go into my ideas place on my tablet here. Just excuse me a second, just pull up a quick sheet, and I'll just note that down, that we have a contortionist, and maybe I'll not be so worried to use that sort of character since I did last time. Wants to get revenge on an amulet, but they will forget their entire life piece by piece. Is it worth it? Okay, so once I've got the basic prompt down there, then there's the aspect cards. So I can put an aspect card under any of the cards that I want to describe, but that'll probably be particularly the agent card and the anchor card. But let's see, you've got quiet, bloodthirsty, forbidden, hungry. Kind of like the idea of a bloodthirsty contortionist, because what if she got messed up with that cursed amulet initially for a reason, like she was trying to use it. Maybe she's already quite a vengeful person, and it didn't take much to turn her vengeance upon this amulet. So when you've done that, as you can see there, you tuck the agent card under, or the aspect card under the agent card, and you can continue if you want a few more. You can continue pulling cards. Back at horror again. I'm gonna pick something from the middle of the deck, see if I can get a card that's not horror, and I do. Okay, so I've got an ancient, a healing, a talkative, or a shocking. I think that might be pretty cool under the amulet. So I'll say we've got an ancient amulet. And what have we got here? Advanced, rich, radical, refurbished. Not really. So as you can see, sometimes you're discarding the cards, but you feel that you've had more choice and you don't get so frustrated because of the 4 choices on each card. So shambling, subterranean, nightmarish, telepathic. I guess the amulet is telepathic because it can talk into people's minds. Okay, so this has nothing to do with the comedy thing that I have to figure out, but I kind of like it, and I'm going to save it for later. And that's another great thing if you're just feeling, if you're in a creative mood but you're not really able to sit yourself down and do some writing. It's fun to come up with prompts of your own that are not ones that you picked out of a 5,000 prompt book, which those are useful as well, but this you just feel like you're really a part of it. As it goes along, you're developing it, because obviously I've decided the amulet is cursed by some demonic force myself. It just says here an amulet, but I don't know, the picture on the card there, if I can show you a bit more closely, it's kind of demonic looking. It kind of drove me kind of in that direction, I think. And then obviously the idea of somebody wanting to get revenge on it, well, I could have easily just discarded the card for a different one, but then I think it's interesting. Why would you want to get revenge on an amulet? Well, obviously if the amulet did something to you, and in order for it to actually do something worthy of vengeance, it would have to have a mind of its own. And playing plenty of D&D games, you come to discover that you shouldn't put on the amulet, the magic that you find in the dungeon or the top of a castle, or you shouldn't put on the crown, or bad things will happen to you. So that's me just giving you the general gist of the situation here. Sorry, again, I'm really not used to making this videos, and I'm obviously going to work hard at getting better at it. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to try and figure out something for my comedy misunderstood vlogger story. So I'm just going to tuck these cards into the bottom, back where they came from, and this gives me the opportunity to show you something of interest about the cards that will help in my situation right now, and will help in a lot of situations where you have begun a story, or you've got a general idea for a story but you don't have anything deeper and you're stuck. And I consider myself pretty stuck with the comedy. So sometimes you already have in your mind's eye, or you've been told in my case, of a character, and my character is a vlogger, right? So if you already have a character in mind, you just take the ancient card, don't flip it over, and just set it down and consider that it is representing the vlogger, the character that you have decided to write about. Okay, and then it's just a case of doing the same thing as you did before. You've got a vlogger, and then picking up the ninja card. I've got wants to control or wants to shirk responsibility for. So thinking about a vlogger, what sort of things does this person vlog about? Perhaps they started up something, a rumor or an expose that got out of hand, and now they don't want to take responsibility for beginning it. That's a possibility, but again, I'm considering that I have to do something that's comedic. So, and on the other side here, I've got they wants to control, and I've got this idea of Lu, the sun god. So I might just put wants to control down there for now. And then we've got the anchor. Wants to control a company, a prototype, a laboratory, or a poison. Not really suitable. Although, you know, I have my idea here for this this sun god, Lu. It's been turned in our minds into the leprechaun. So I could again stick down an anchor card here, which represents Lu, the sun god, / the leprechaun. Which then leads me back to this idea about what the vlogger does. Maybe they vlog about mythology, ancient mythology. Maybe they do research and they do cool vlogs that talk about various stories from around the world and mythologies and fairy tales. And maybe this vlogger has not done enough research about the leprechaun, and in doing so angered Lu, the sun god, who visits them and starts to upend their life. I think that could be funny. Could be disastrous, but it could also be funny. So as you can see, I've got the cards here, and I'm using them exactly how I need to use them, and I've got my own ideas as well, which I can bring to the table. Literally. Okay, so I'm going to say that's Lu, the anchor card, and that the vlogger wants to control him because he's come into his life and upended everything. Okay, so then we've got a conflict card. So they must confront a ghost of the past, but it will lead their enemy straight to them. That doesn't really suit us. And I reckon, you know, the more you get into situations where you've got a real idea yourself, you're going to probably end up discarding more cards until you find one that resonates with you. But they will have to draw on a dark power. Okay, that's pretty cool. Alright, in order to get rid of the sun god Lu, you're going to have to draw on some sort of dark power that can overcome him. Like what? And okay, my mind starts thinking about the fact that, you know, these gods, these Celtic gods, got stolen by the incoming Christian empire and the control, and they get taken and they get warped into sometimes saints or sometimes devils, and sometimes fairies or demonic creatures, like the leprechaun, for instance. So drawing on a dark power, imagine it kind of turns everything up on its head a wee bit, that the dark power is some sort of like a Jesus figure or a Christian figure, and maybe St. Patrick's going to have to call up the ghost of St. Patrick, who drew this. We know St. Patrick drove the snakes out of Ireland, and the snake is basically a symbol of the goddess. He drove out all of the worship of the goddess. So yeah, my own ideas. I really love mythology. I love Celtic mythology, Greek mythology, and I like Christian mythology too, and looking at the history of the saints and also just the general stories in the Bible. So I'm bringing my own interests obviously to the fore here, but I'm pretty happy with that. So I came down here this morning, and as I told you, I felt pretty bummed out about my assignment. Now the misunderstanding is the vlogger's initial report on the origins of the leprechaun, which is going to enrage Lu. So I can imagine the vlogger, you know, when this god, bright sun god appears, trying to grovel, telling him, sorry, it's a misunderstanding. Uh, so yeah, characters starting to come to life in my head. So I haven't used any of the aspect cards, and that might just give me a little bit more, information about the characters, personalities, things going on with them. So let's have a look. Nocturnal, quivering, paranoid, vision inducing. Well, I guess Lou, the sun god, is pretty paranoid by this stage. Everyone's against him. He's being stripped of his power. He can't trust anyone. He's got no worshippers. Yeah, all the world's against Lou. He's paranoid. Let's see. Plucky, blasphemous, thorny, bloodied. Okay, so the vlogger's going to be pretty blasphemous. Absolutely, which I think is going to kind of be ironic, funny, because he has to call upon the dark powers of Christianity in order to get rid of his Lou infestation. And his vlogs are going to be funny, and they're going to be making fun of mythology, making fun of the gods. So yeah, he's blasphemous in every pantheon's view, and not well loved by the gods. Not sure why Lou takes particular problem with them, with my vlogger, but we'll see. Draw another one. I already picked that one earlier. Drawn to it. Thoughtful, blighted, brilliant, icy, thoughtful. Well, I guess maybe poor Lou's paranoid and is blighted. Doesn't have any worshippers. It's draining him. You know, the idea gods exist because people make them up and believe in them, and if they don't, if they lose their worshippers, then they fade away, I guess. So I am pretty happy with that, and I'm just gonna jot it down, but I will jot it down off camera. I just wanted to make this video and show you how I use the story engine cards. Any questions and anything you would like me to do, put it in the comments down below. I think I will probably come back and show you different ways of doing the layouts. Doesn't have to be always this way. And also I will show you how this can be used as a game. But for now, this is just a general and honest use of this story engine, and I've just taken you through the whole process with me. You've seen me discard the cards. I've shown you how you can do it from scratch, and also how you can do it when you've already got a gist of an idea that you want to expand on. So thank you for joining me for this, and I hope to see you again soon.